Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar today. Before we begin learning about reach and frequency, we'd like to introduce ourselves. My name is Nan, and I'm on the Product Marketing Communications team here at Facebook.
And I'm Kyle Rocco. I'm on the Product Marketing team, and I focus on reach and frequency.
So let's take a look at what we will be covering today. Today, you will learn why Facebook's reach and frequency is a great way to build your brand, the new enhancements made to reach and frequency, best practices for using reach and frequency. So we will spend about 30 minutes covering the content, and then we will wrap up with a Q&A session where you'll be able to ask questions on any of the things we covered today. If you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to send them in via the questions window of the GoToWebinar control panel on your screen. We'll get to them during the Q&A period. There's also a handout that we've attached to the webinar which gives an overview of reach and frequency. Please download it from your control panel so that you can follow along and also review after. With that, here's Kyle.
Hi, everyone. Today we're going to talk through one of Facebook's most powerful media buying tools, reach and frequency buying. But before we dive in, I'd like to level set on what we are observing in the marketplace today. There's a massive shift happening that we're all experiencing in our everyday lives. That shift is our consumption behavior, and it is due to that little device we all carry in our pockets. Mobile has changed the way we communicate with each other, how we understand the world around us, and how we make decisions every day. And with the shift to mobile, entire industries are being turned upside down. Just a few years ago, one of New York City's most enduring institutions, the Yellow Cab, was something guaranteed to never be challenged. Now, Uber is the world's biggest taxi company today. And our mobile devices are constant companions. People now spend almost 3 hours a day on their mobile device. And most mobile time is spent in apps. And although there are millions of apps out there, people spend about 80% of their time in their top 3 apps and about 50% in their top app. With Facebook and Instagram, you have the ability to reach people where they are most engaged. Facebook and Instagram alone represent 1 in 5 minutes on mobile in the United States. With Facebook, you have access to an enormous audience. We recently hit a milestone of having 1 billion people log into Facebook in a single day. 1 billion people come to Facebook every single day, and Instagram now has 400 million people using the platform every month. And what we've learned is that while mobile is easy for consumers, it presents a lot of challenges for advertisers. We live in a world where people have more interests, devices, screens, and media options than ever before, and there's no sign of it slowing. Advertisers face a challenge. With so many choices, consumers have complete control of where they direct their attention. And with so many competing platforms and devices, it's increasingly difficult to reach your target audience at scale. So how can we help? One of the common themes you'll hear me talk about is this concept of identity. And what I mean by identity is I am my true self when I am on Facebook. I am Kyle on my mobile device in the morning, on my laptop during the day, and my tablet at night. And you can reach me and everyone else on Facebook across all of these devices, wherever they are, in a really effective way. And this concept of identity and our people-based platform allows you to obtain the reach and relevance that has been almost impossible in the past. Previously, in order to get the scaled reach you were looking for on TV, you had to sacrifice accuracy and settle for very broad-based targeting. Alternatively, in order to obtain targeting accuracy, you had to advertise in places that did not have a lot of reach, like radio and trade publications. With Facebook and Instagram, you can now achieve both of these objectives without sacrificing one or the other. So what exactly is reach and frequency buying? Reach and frequency buying is Facebook's industry-leading brand buying tool. Traditional media like television and print are planned and bought on reach and frequency metrics. And with this tool, Facebook can provide the predictability and control advertisers desire with the scale, targeting, and accuracy that no other platform can match. Reach and frequency was crafted for digital experts wanting more control and predictability through our self-serve interfaces and API. To continue to meet your needs, we've been enhancing our reach and frequency tool to be even more effective for you. At its core, reach and frequency allows you to more accurately plan and predict your campaigns, reach the right people across your target audience, and control the frequency and the sequence of your ads. So some of you may be asking yourselves, okay, but why is reach so important? Well, we know from data shared by our friends over at Nielsen that reach is one of the biggest factors in driving brand impact. If you want to build awareness of your brand within your target audience, optimizing for reach is one of the best ways to do so. To illustrate how the knowledge we have about real people allows us to deliver personalized marketing at scale, let's take the following example. In the past, reaching a large audience of people meant reaching those people with a mass message that maybe didn't have the best chance of resonating with those people. However, given Facebook combines massive reach with advanced targeting, you can still achieve the reach you need while delivering relevant messages to specific segments of your target audience. So how does reach and frequency work? It allows you to plan your campaign and select your audience and reserve your inventory ahead of time, and it allows you to control the frequency, the pace, and the sequence of your ads. So let's dive a little bit deeper into how this works. From Power Editor, you'll first select your campaign buying type as reach and frequency and your objective. This can be anything from page post engagement to website conversions. Then create a new ad set, which is where you will set up your reach and frequency parameters. Once you've created your campaign and ad set, you will now have the reach and frequency interface in front of you. This is where you can set up all your targeting and delivery details, as well as your budget and reach goals. As you change each parameter on the left side of the screen, you'll see the graph and the main metrics on the right update in real time. The first step is to make sure you have your Facebook page and Instagram account properly set up so you can run your ads from either source. Even if you don't want to run Instagram ads today, connecting both your Facebook page and Instagram account is a best practice in case you decide you want to advertise across both platforms in the future. Next, you can select your campaign start and end date, as well as the frequency you want people to see your ads over the course of your campaign. You can set different frequency intervals depending on how often you want people to see your ads and when. For example, if you have a 7-day campaign and you set your frequency interval at 2 impressions per day, your ads will be delivered to each person no more than twice over that 7-day. You can change the frequency or the number of days to suit your desired ad pacing. We'll dive a little bit deeper into frequency cap interval in a few minutes. One of the first questions we get when we talk about frequency caps is, okay, what is the optimum frequency for my campaign? Well, the truth is it depends on a lot of things. It depends on the length of your campaign, the number of messages you would like to deliver, your budget, brand recognition, etc. So it's very difficult for us to provide a solid answer. Generally speaking, though, we see brands have success at around 1 to 2 impressions per person per week over the course of their campaign. The best way to understand what works for your brand is to test and learn. The second question we get is, how many people saw just 1 impression or 2 impressions or all the ads in my campaign? To that question, we do have an answer. You will notice this frequency tab at the top of the graph on the right. If you click on it, this shows you our estimated frequency distribution per person. In this example, we've set a frequency cap of 2 over the 7-day campaign, so our estimated distribution shows that around 75% of people will receive both ads, while 25% will receive one. If you change the frequency or the time increment, this will all be reflected in the chart in real time as well. This type of insight becomes particularly important with sequenced ads, which we will talk about more in depth in a few minutes. Next, you can select your target audience. This can be as broad or as granular as you want, but keep in mind you must reach at least 200,000 people within a single reach and frequency campaign. You'll notice that with each change you make to your campaign schedule or targeting criteria, the reach curve updates in real time to display updated prediction numbers. You can select which reach and budget levels you want on the graph itself using the sliding icon. Next, you can select where you want your ads to be delivered. The most effective placement is newsfeed, both on desktop and mobile. We also just introduced Instagram availability with reach and frequency, so if you would like your ads to be delivered on Instagram as well, you can select that here. Once you've locked in all your campaign details and are ready to reserve your inventory, simply click the Reserve and Upload button on the bottom right of the screen. And here you can review your campaign details and reserve your inventory. Once you've completed the campaign setup and can now create your ads. If you have multiple messages that you would like to deliver in order, you can set a sequence and we will deliver your ads in the order you desire. Ad sequencing allows you to tell your brand story in a more effective way that allows you to use different creative messages and types as illustrated in this example. Here we use a combination of photos, videos, and our new carousel ad unit to tell a sequence story. And one of the new enhancements we recently made is cross-platform sequencing. Now you can deliver your sequenced messages to people across both Facebook and Instagram wherever they are logged in. So let's dive into a real-world example of ad sequencing and the frequency cap. Common use cases for these features are if you have multiple messages you want to deliver in a sequence, or if you have time constraints that require your ads be delivered during certain time frames within your campaign. A great example of when to use ad sequencing or the frequency cap interval is a movie launch. Typically, movie launches last about a month or two leading up to the launch date. There are usually multiple versions of a teaser or trailers that they release in a sequential order. For this example, we'll use a 28-day campaign with a few different trailers. We can create a sequenced campaign that delivers a maximum of 2 impressions per person per week leading up to the launch. The first example of just using the frequency cap interval is actually a single ad or trailer that is paced out evenly over the course of 4 weeks. So people will see that ad at a maximum of 2 times each week leading up to the launch date. The second example is multiple ads that are delivered in a sequence and paced out over the 4 weeks. There are many variations of this setup. This is just a simple example to help you think about how to potentially structure a campaign. Generally, we recommend keeping it simple and not creating too much structure around a campaign. If you put too many controls on your campaign, it may limit its ability to deliver additional reach, which you'll see reflected in the prediction tool when creating the campaign. Keep in mind, we can't guarantee all people will always see all of your ads. Our predictions are based on login behavior, and this tool provides accurate predictions, but we cannot control when people log into Facebook. Looking ahead to the future for reach and frequency. So we've already talked about some of the latest enhancements, but we know there is more that you need to be effective. We know from you that Instagram planning and buying is incredibly important, as well as more flexibility through day parting and longer campaign lengths. So we're working to get these features into the tool in the next few months. We're also updating our in-search and order booking process to also leverage reach and frequency buying for teams that need more support and guarantees when running campaigns. Longer term, based on your feedback, we're working on further improving the UI, potentially having a standalone version of the tool that could be used for planning purposes, and developing ways to give you more flexibility to adjust purchased campaigns, such as adding incremental budget. We hope you're as excited as we are about the future of reach and frequency. We look forward to working with you. So I'm just going to dive into a few case studies here to give you an example of some successes we've seen with reach and frequency. Garnier Italy wanted to drive awareness of a new cream among Italian women. Reach and frequency allowed Garnier to maximize the number of women it reached given their budget with balanced ad frequency, and it gave them total control over the number of times people were exposed to their ads. Video was at the core of their creative, delivered into the Facebook newsfeed to promote the TV commercial that aired over the same period. Photo ads also highlighted the product's 5-in-1 benefits, helping to identify it as the original Garnier beauty product and reinforce the product's positioning. Garnier needed to drive awareness of the cream, not only a new product range, but a new category, an all-in-one facial solution that combines skincare, SPF, and makeup in a single step. The results confirmed the effectiveness of Facebook as a brand-building platform. 5.5 million women reached, which was 40% of the target Italian population. 22% of total reach was generated by Facebook alone, in addition to television. They had 96% targeting accuracy, and it resulted in a 24-point increase in ad recall and a 22% increase in purchase intent. Next, Nissan wanted to drive awareness of 3 crossover models that they were introducing: the Juke, the Qashqai, and the X-Trail. Nissan needed a way to drive awareness and better express the different aspects of the car. The 2 things were key: reaching the right people with low frequency and encouraging them to interact with the brand. With 3 different models to promote, each with different features, Nissan needed to reach a broad audience. It focused its Facebook ad targeting on adults aged 30 to 54. The brand then used Facebook's reach and frequency buying tool to control how many people would see the messages, avoiding the problem of repeatedly showing the same ads to the same people over and over. Nissan used 2 videos for its reach and frequency campaign, and alongside this ran a link ad display campaign for each model that promoted editorial content from the Nissan Facebook page. A key objective of the campaign was to measure Facebook's target accuracy versus the rest of the online campaign using Nielsen's digital ad ratings. And what we found was 96% on-target impressions, and they reached 44% of women aged 30 to 34. So, to recap, buying media to drive your brand objectives is very important for you to gain media efficiency and also see the best brand results. We know that optimizing toward reach and controlling your frequency is the most effective way for driving brand outcomes. Reach and frequency is Facebook's industry-leading brand buying tool. It is our recommended approach for driving brand awareness or brand metrics for your campaign. We've crafted reach and frequency for digital experts that are really looking for more control and predictability through our self-serve interfaces and the API. And reach and frequency can be used for multiple business objectives. You can use it for driving brand awareness, increasing in-store sales, or just reaching your key audience with targeted messages. So now we'll move on to the Q&A section. So if you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A area on your screen. So we've got a few questions here. First, how does bidding and billing work with reach and frequency? So the bidding for reach and frequency is on a CPM basis. You'll be able to see an estimated CPM when you're planning your campaign, and you'll be paying on a CPM basis. It's important to note that you'll be billed on impressions for reach and frequency, not on reach. The next question we have here, is there a minimum spend? There's no minimum spend for reach and frequency, but there is a minimum reach. The minimum reach for a single campaign must be at least 200,000 people. This applies to both Facebook only, Instagram only, as well as a Facebook plus Instagram campaign. Next question, am I able to change my creative after reserving my campaign? The answer is yes. You're able to book your campaign up to 6 months in advance, and you can adjust your creative before and during your campaign. Once the campaign goes live, if you have a new message that you want to swap into the campaign, you can do so without interfering with delivery. There is no pausing. I just want to note that there is no pausing a reach and frequency campaign. Because you reserve inventory and we lock in your budget and reach goals, you can't pause the campaign because that will impact our ability to deliver to your reach and budget goals. So if for some reason you need to stop or cancel the campaign, you must end it and delete the campaign, and you can't restart it once you've deleted it. What metrics should a client be looking at to determine success at the end of a campaign? What metrics are the ones that matter for reach and frequency? We really encourage a lot of our advertisers to couple their reach and frequency campaigns with brand measurement studies. We've partnered with Nielsen and Millward Brown to provide measurement solutions because reach and frequency is really about driving awareness and driving brand impact. It's about optimizing toward reach and getting your message in front of the most eyeballs that you can. So while reach is the main metric and getting your message out there to the right people is the most important thing, we highly encourage you to run measurement studies to understand what is that brand lift? What is the ad recall or the brand recall of my campaign? And that's really how we should be looking at driving business outcomes. Can you tell us more on the TRP buying tool? The TRP buying tool is a separate tool that's really meant for the television buyers in the room. The TRP buying tool would probably take another full session, so that's all I can really say about that. If you have a Facebook rep that you work with and you're curious about the TRP buying tool, please reach out to them and we can provide you more information. How do you set up campaigns to use multiple ad types in reach and frequency? So once you reserve your inventory and you upload your campaign, you can create your ads, and within the ad creation flow, you can select multiple different ad types, just as you would when you're creating an auction campaign. So you can create a video ad followed by a photo ad followed by a link ad. It's the same exact flow in Power Editor that it is for the auction. Next question. Is ad sequencing available in Canada? Yes. So ad sequencing is available wherever reach and frequency is available. What is day parting? Good question. So day parting is something that's not available right now within reach and frequency, but day parting is basically a solution that provides advertisers the ability to only run ads during certain hours of the day, right? So if you are, let's say, for instance, a sandwich shop and you want to run ads only during lunchtime to drive, or right before lunchtime, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., at day parting allows you to do that. So if you set up a campaign that is a week long, you'll then be able to select certain hours of the day that your ads will run. So you're not wasting your money during hours where people aren't really thinking about lunch, for instance. Next question. Should one always create ads in Power Editor or an ads manager? It's really up to you. I think Power Editor is preferred because that's where you can more easily set your sequenced campaign, and doing everything from a single interface is usually easier. And then once you do that, you're able to upload everything from Power Editor. You can use Ads Manager to review and make edits as necessary. And again, it's really up to whatever interface you're more comfortable with. But generally speaking, we see most ad creation comes from Power Editor. What is the minimum or maximum campaign length? The minimum campaign length for reach and frequency is 1 day, and the maximum campaign length is 30 days. So you can run a campaign of any length between 1 and 30 days. We're looking to expand the length maximum of reach and frequency to 90 days, but that is not ready yet. That'll be coming in the next couple months. Any idea of when the page post engagement objective will be available for reach and frequency for Instagram? Great question, and that actually should be coming in the next few days. I believe we are rolling out that feature enhancement this week, so you should be able to select page post engagement and choose Instagram as a placement in the next few days. Let's see. Can you use custom audience targeting with reach and frequency? Yes, you can use custom audiences. We have the custom audience availability for both auction and reach and frequency, and you can also use third-party audiences. The only limitation we have with reach and frequency is you cannot use website custom audiences or any other dynamic type of audience. So when you use website custom audiences, for example, that audience may grow over time as more people visit your website and get included into this target audience. That's a challenge for reach and frequency because when you run your reach and frequency campaigns, you lock in your inventory and your reach goals ahead of time. And if you have a dynamically changing or a dynamically growing audience, that poses a problem for the reach and frequency tool on delivering results. So you can use custom audiences, but you cannot use website custom audiences or any other dynamically updating audience. Let's see. If we are able to select multiple ad types for one sequenced campaign, which objective do we choose at a campaign level? We have to select objective before we create the campaign. This is correct, and it's a good question. So generally speaking, if you have a campaign where you're running a photo, a video, and maybe a link ad, there is the challenge of, all right, should I be choosing page post engagement? Should I be choosing video views or what? Generally speaking, if you have multiple ad types within your campaign, page post engagement is the recommended objective because it works across all of the ad types and it will work the hardest for you. In the future, we would like to get to a point where you can select your objective per creative type. So if you're running a video and a photo and a link ad in your campaign, you can choose video views for the video ad, you can choose engagement for your photo ad, and you can choose maybe like website clicks for your link ad, but we're just not there yet. So page post engagement is going to be your best bet for a campaign that includes different ad types. How accurate is the system? How does the prediction of the available audience differ when reserving campaign next week versus campaign 6 months from now? So the system is very accurate. We have built a system that we are very confident in our ability to deliver on all of the reach predictions, right? So when you lock in your inventory and you reserve it, we are typically within 3% of the reach and budget goals 99% of the time. So we're typically very, very accurate with delivering on our reach predictions. In terms of audience availability and how it differs in terms of booking next week versus 6 months from now, booking ahead of time is always a best practice because you'll have more inventory available, right? Like people, generally speaking, advertisers don't book up to 6 months in advance, or they don't book as far ahead of time as most. And I think you'll see that there will be more inventory for your target audience available 6 months in advance versus the week prior. Now, depending on the time frame and whether it's a high competition period, like say for the holidays, you're going to want to book ahead of time to make sure you can secure the most reach possible. But we also understand that things change and campaign parameters and details will fluctuate over time, and so sometimes you can't lock in your inventory far in advance. And so in that case, we understand that you might need to book your inventory a week ahead, but we do recommend trying to book it to as far in advance as possible to maximize the reach possible. Let's see. Can I pause my reach and frequency campaign after it starts? No, once a campaign has started, you cannot pause it because the prediction system is basically looking at how long your campaign is, how many people you're targeting within the campaign, and it's going to try and pace out delivery of your ads to reach those people in an accurate way over the given time frame. If you pause your campaign and your ads aren't delivering for a few hours or a few days, that impacts our ability to deliver on the reach and budget goals. And so you cannot pause a campaign. If you need to cancel your campaign, you can do that and you can delete the campaign and you can, create a new campaign, but you cannot pause an existing one. Let's see. What is the difference in reach of an ad through traditional ads manager setup versus reach and frequency? Is it only capping? So in the auction system, so this is basically a question about optimizing toward reach in the auction system versus optimizing toward reach and frequency. The difference is through the auction system, we don't provide you the predictability and the frequency capping control that we do in reach and frequency. So the auction system, you can optimize toward reach, but we won't be able to give you a good idea of how many people within your target audience you can reach given your budget, and you won't be able to control the frequency with which you reach everyone. And so with reach and frequency, we can provide you both of those things. So it's really about, in the auction system, there's a lot of flexibility. You don't have to necessarily reserve your inventory in advance, and you can change on the fly. Whereas reach and frequency, there's a little bit less flexibility, even though we're working on that, but there is a lot more predictability and control. And so that's the main difference between reach and frequency and auction. Let's see, next question. How many ads can I include in a single sequenced campaign? You can add up to 50 ads per sequenced reach and frequency campaign, though we don't necessarily recommend that. Typically, advertisers will have limited budgets, and so if you have a few major key messages that you want delivered in a sequence, we recommend running them on a frequency of maybe 1 to 2 per week, but the limit is 50. What's the frequency cap in an auction clicks to website campaign? So there really is no frequency cap in an auction campaign. There is a natural frequency cap that we have in our newsfeed algorithm, which limits people from seeing more than 2 ads from a single page per day. So each person will only be able to see up to 2 ads from a page per day. So that's the natural newsfeed frequency cap. Other than that, the auction does not have any frequency controls on it. Is sequenced delivery based on impression or time period? Sequenced delivery is based on, that's a really good question. Sequenced delivery is based on impression, and the frequency cap interval is based on time period. So I'll actually go back to this slide here. So you can see that in this first example, using the frequency cap interval, this is based on time period. So as a person within the target audience, I'm only eligible to see that trailer once or twice during that first 7-day period. And once I see that trailer twice in that first, let's say I see the first ad the first day and I see the second ad the second day, the next 5 days, I will not be eligible to see any more ads from that page, or I won't be able to see any more trailers. But on day 8, I will then be eligible once again to see an additional 2 impressions, or see that next trailer. In terms of ad sequencing, it's really just based on impression. There's no sense of timing, right? So if you only use ad sequencing, and you have 4 messages that you want to deliver to people over the course of a time frame, if someone logs in a lot in the first few days or the first week of the campaign, they may see all of your messages in the first few times that they log in, whereas there might be someone within your target audience that logs in once in the first week and you deliver your first message to them, and then they don't log in until the end, 20 days later. That's when they'll see the rest of your messages. So ad sequencing is impression based and has no sense of timing. Frequency cap interval is based on timing and doesn't necessarily have any sense of sequencing. Good question. I hope I didn't confuse everyone with that. Can a reach and frequency campaign's flight be extended after it has already started? Right now, no. Once you lock in your campaign length, your budget and reach goals, and you reserve your inventory, you're locked into those parameters. We are working on some feature enhancements that hopefully will come early next year that will allow more flexibility once you lock in a campaign. We know that with some brand campaigns, you'll be running the campaign and then you'll get allocated additional budget, and you want to add that to the campaign. And right now you can't do that with reach and frequency. You can really only do that through the auction system. So we want to provide some options to allow brands to include additional budget in a live reach and frequency campaign, as well as extending that reach and frequency campaign a certain set of days. But that is a technical challenge that we're addressing right now, and we hope to have a solution in the next couple months. Can you target days with reach and frequency, or would this be multiple campaigns? For example, you want to target folks with reach and frequency on Thursdays and Wednesdays for 6 months. This is also a really good question. Right now, you can only run campaigns on consecutive days with reach and frequency. You can't select which days you want to deliver ads. But we have heard this feedback before where, you might be, let's say you're an advertiser or you're a sponsor for the NFL, and you only want to run ads when there are NFL games, which are Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays. So how do we create a campaign where you can deliver, a reach and frequency campaign to those people on only those days? Right now, we do not have a solution for that. You have to run consecutive days, but we are thinking about that, and hopefully we'll have a solution in the next few months as well. All right, that wraps up the Q&A portion of this session. I want to thank you all very, very much for attending, and we appreciate it.